Nothing like next day pizza. Right out of the refrigerator. Extra cheese. Watch this. Bitchamatwad Incorporated. Hello? Bitch. Oh, oh, I'm sorry. You got, I don't know. Maybe you got the wrong number. Are you trying to contact bitchamatwad.com? No, I think maybe you misdialed or something. Okay. Alright, thanks. Bitchamatwad. You fucking didn't even realize what I said. Bitchamatwad. And see, that brings up the point of the video. And I couldn't have planned that phone call any better. And I don't even know who the fuck that was. Some fucking, I don't know. Who knows? But the video is going to be about scams. Now, I mentioned that in high school I kind of figured out the algorithm that banks were using, and it was a little different for each one. They didn't use the same one. And by algorithm, I mean by the qualifications they wanted to see to grant credit. Now, back then, it was different than now. There was, if you were like 18, 19, there was two ways to get credit. Basically, you had, well, three, four maybe. You had to be a baller. I mean, just like fucking Bill Gates. Okay? Alright, not that. Scratch that. Move it. Parents co-sign. Scratch that. Move it. You had to go to college, and you had to go to like a cool school, like Chico State. That's where they would send the Visa, MasterCard people down there, and they just fucking boom, 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 boom. And I swear to God, I even got one under a fake name. It was so fucking hilarious. Somebody dared me, and I went up there and was able to get one in a fucking fake name. I won't say how I did it, and I'm not going to say what name it was under, but it was quite hilarious. We even got one under a dog's name. But anyhow, if you want to be back then, if you would like join like BMG or something like that, you could do it in a dog's name. I swear to God, it's hilarious. You could do it in a dog's name, and then after a while, you do enough of those weird little things like that, your name gets passed around. The credit card companies would run your name, and their machines back then weren't smart enough. So sometimes they would just pick up on a social hit, and it might not be your actual social. So they'll give you a pre-qualified card, and never mind. I ain't going there. Okay, scams for beginners. Okay. Here's an easy one for a beginner. Say you're out of town. Don't do this in your own fucking town, by the way. You can, but you might get caught. Say you're out of town. You want to eat for free because you're a cheap ass, like me. And I never paid when I was out of town. Okay. In the morning, go to the fast food restaurant of your choice, located next to a freeway exit. sit and wait until you hear an order that's good enough for you and your homeboy. And then go fuck off for however long. And then later on go back in that store and complain about the food. Now, the store's gonna go, well, where's your receipt? Damn. My beer cans be falling. But, you say, oh shit, I must have thrown that out with the fucking food. It was stinking the shit out of my car. I wasn't gonna let it sit there in the hot sun. And then, and I said, can't you just fucking punch some shit in that damn thing and look it up? And then they'll ask you, you know, specific information. Okay? What did you order? How much it cost? What time did you come? They can pull that. Okay? Now, be sure it's not a fucking place crawling with goddamn cameras. Because if they decide they get suspect and start pulling the drive-through and it was some fucking old lady and you're standing there, you're gonna look pretty fucking silly while they're calling the cops. Most cops won't do anything, but still. Another one. Oh, yeah. And you, by the way, on that scam, you gotta have a whole backstory. Like, say if I was in Sacramento, I'd be like, yeah, look, dude, people on this. Me and my Saha here, we're going back down to V-Town here, which V-Town and Sac are not that far apart. And we came by here. He dropped the snaps. We got some food. And we hit the shit. All right. And we hit about to the 505, and we're almost puking out the fucking window. This shit's so fucking nasty. We're fucking throwing that shit out the goddamn window. And you know, now we're coming back, and I'm fucking pissed off. I paid $20 on this bullshit. These goddamn fries are cold. This is that. I didn't get the fucking smoked cheddar chicken sandwich I ordered. What the fuck? You know? And so you gotta have backstory. Make sure your backstory, when you use a backstory, make it plausible, make it easy. Okay? Don't complicate your fucking self. Complicating yourself opens yourself up to looking like a liar. Don't ask me. Just take it. Alright? Now, let's go back to the credit card shit. Now, the last way of getting a credit card was just qualifying for yourself. And most people couldn't. They were almost there, but they couldn't. It was always something. And they would never know, but after I'd look at their application, I'd figure it out. It was either their job wasn't long enough, or they were about $5K too short on the base income, or they were this, or they were that. So what I would do is, back then, the credit file wasn't as complex as it is today. Back then, they didn't track every time you farted. And you could get away with a lot more shiznit. Okay? Especially since most of this shit was approved by hand. And so, okay. You go to AirTouch, buy an old Motorola Bravo. Now, you go to AirTouch because you're local back then. cell slash pager guy, they usually had a fixed prefix which everybody knew. So you'd get something like a national, like an AirTouch or something, which ended up becoming what's now Verizon, I think. If you follow all the mergers and fuckovers and all that other bullshit. But you get one of them, and you also get the features that the local people didn't have. Like you're able to customize your message, like a voicemail. So you can make it sound like back then, an answering machine. But you would think, well, why the fuck would somebody talk into a pager instead of typing in a number? Well, here's where the other options came into play. See, back then, they also had caller ID, and they had this thing called tone only. Tone only means that they didn't leave a number. So I would set it up where I knew I was running a scam. I was waiting for a call. Okay? I would set it up as Bitchamatwat Enterprises. Sorry we're not in right now, but if you leave your name and number and give you a call back there on the flip-flop. And they would talk to it like it's an answering machine, and then, you call them back about 10 minutes later and go, hey, someone from here called? I'm sorry, I was trying to, get this thing to do it. Damn thing ate my tape. Throw that darn thing across the room, smash shit out of it. But someone called. I just, able to get the phone number. I wasn't able to get the rest of the message. And then they'll say, oh, yeah. Because back then, caller ID wasn't that. It was first on, caller ID first came out really on like cell phone-y type shit and stuff than it did on home phone, because nobody thought you would need it on a home phone. You would need it on a cell phone because you were so restricted on minutes. Most of the time people were talking on cell phones back then, they weren't talking on cell phones. They'd be putting on a play with their leg up on the wall and shit, looking like LL. But anywho, so you call them back. You say, look, my machine wrecked half the message. I was able to get a phone number. I think I'm calling the right one. Did anybody call blah blah blah? And they'll say, oh yes, it was us. We're trying to get an employer reference for blah blah blah. And you go, oh yeah, they work for me. And then of course, since you schooled them on what to put on the application, you know exactly what to say. So you would do it as this was their secondary job, not their primary. Their secondary. Oh, that adds a twist to your titty, doesn't it? And I'll tell you why. Usually because we wouldn't stretch the income that much. And if they went the next year and they didn't file the same tax return or whatever else, and it just made things a little easier for many reasons. But I didn't have one person who wasn't able to get something, a car, a credit card. Oh fuck, shit! I had like 20 cards back then. I was just getting them, whatever. And then, of course, figured out different ways of getting them in different names and all that other shit without even stealing identities. They weren't even real. That was even better. I didn't charge anything on any of those. I have nothing of that. If I help somebody get like a Sears card or something like that, I just tell them, yeah, charge me, $100 on it, whatever. Give me a set of speakers or something, some tires or something. I don't know. Yeah, you don't understand, but back then, Sears and stuff like that, if you broke that barrier, they would like give you like a $5,000. They give you like a $2,500 plastic card. Then you get the Sears Charge Plus account, which would be like another $5,000. So like once you bust a barrier, they just hand ship to you. And it was funny. So I'm like, just break me off something a little there. Charge me what you think. Give me a gift or whatever. Whatever. And if it was a car, then usually work out something. Work out something. It always works out like that. But people don't realize how many scams are done around them every day. People keep blaming corporations. People keep blaming fucking the stockbrokers and all this other bullshit because they don't understand. The fact is you're scammed by regular people more than you ever will be scammed by a corporate entity. And people think like corporates run this fucking bitch and all this other shit. That's so fucking full. As soon as somebody says that shit, I know they're full of shit. They don't know nothing. Because you can look through history. And I don't give a fuck what industry you look at. You can see the government fucking going in there and goddamn breaking the shit. I mean, Obama just tried to sink mine. I mean, come on. And the thing is we wouldn't have gone anywhere. Because we would still be paid to pay theirs. I know it sounds weird, but look up health insurance TPA and then you'll figure it out. Almost every plan in America is done that way. People hate insurance companies. They don't even realize we're not the real people. We're not the insurance companies. Anywho. Pepsi is a prime example of what corporate does today. You want to know how corporate fucks you? It's when you become a Trader's Joe bitch. When you become that, that's when corporate got you. Because remember back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, people would take a can of Pepsi and go, you know what, I would never drink a fucking soda. They got that shit all up in that motherfucker. And look at all that goddamn fucking carbonated water, high fructose corn syrup, caramel flavoring, motherfucking caffeine, potassium, shit up in that thing. I only drink Evian. So do you know what Pepsi did? Why don't you go look it up in their wiki. Go look up at what Pepsi owns. You don't want to buy Pepsi? Hey, it's okay. You gotta drink something, motherfucker. And if you buy it, they probably own it. That's how they get you. But is it getting? No, because they're not doing anything wrong. They just own Sobe and Snapple and fucking everything else under the sun. Are they trying to hide it? But no. So, are they fucking you? No. And here's another one. People are like, oh, Big Pharma, Big Pharma, Big Pharma. You know, then they'll talk about, oh, there's something natural, blah, blah, blah. Green Gardens. As a matter of fact, I need to look this one up, but I bet you it's part of it. It has to be. I've gone through so many of these like generic, aspirin. Okay, so everything medical has to have an NDC, which is National Drug Code. You'll see it on every, even Walgreens aspirin. You'll see an NDC number on there. You can look it up that way, or if you're lucky, you just get big fat bottles like this. But shit, I had one here, but I think it's out in the kitchen. It's like vitamin E or something bullshit like that, and it's just a one my wife brought at one my wife's sister bought her from Trader Joe's that has Glaxo as a manufacturer. And I couldn't stop laughing. I was on the floor rolling around for about 30 minutes. Laughing my ass off. Because people don't realize that most of the vitamins and all this shit they say you should take over what the pharmaceutical company makes, they don't realize that almost all of those are made by the same pharmaceutical companies. Who has the pill machines? Do you know how much those fucking things cost to make shit that long? Or that much? How much a machine costs to make fucking capsules? And all that shit. Yeah. So, that's how corporate fucks you. But it's not fucking you. Because it's there. You can find it. If you really wanted to, you can figure it out. So, take it from me. I just saw another one. As much as I like Jaeger. Jaeger. I like Jaeger. James, there's a new video up, and he has a guy who said he teaches high school. Classic fucking con man shit. Right there. As soon as he said the word Simpsons, I already knew what was going on. It was clear as day what the fuck he was doing. It's a fucking classic con man move. It wasn't even executed with any fucking worth. And basically, he's trying to dumb you down in a nice way. Throwing in here, I'm not trying to knock you. No wonder kids didn't learn in his class. Oh, did I say that? It's called tyranny of the majority. People can't figure that out. I don't. It's like, what's going on in America now? I can sum it up here in like two sentences. Tyranny of the majority, meaning 80% of people don't give a fuck, and then the other 20% that actually vote only give a shit about who the fuck the president is, and allow people like Ted Kennedy, who killed a bitch, sit in a fucking chair for 47 goddamn fucking years because people can't fucking do anything else but talk about who the fuck the president is, and they don't even know basic goddamn fucking government enough to know that the goddamn president doesn't even have the power they think he has. He's not a fucking king. He's not a monarch. He's not a fucking this. He's not a fucking that. He's just a goddamn president. He's the puppet of America. He's the CEO, but he's not the goddamn board. And I went to a fucking gang high school and I got an A in economics because I figured out how the fucking banks were doing their qualifications on credit cards. Okay? I don't know. Peace.